Hello and welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing podcast. I am your host, Nina Adio, and in this podcast, we talk about the social media marketing tactics that specifically apply to the wedding industry. Whether you are looking to outsource your social media and gain the knowledge before you do it, or if you're looking to DIY it yourself, we have topics and tips specifically for you. Whether you're listening on your Bluetooth, in your car radio, while you're walking, or even while you're working, I want to thank you for allowing this podcast to come on and enter your world. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the 2025 booking season. Now, there are some of us, perhaps even more boutique vendors, maybe you have less availability, one wedding a weekend or even less than that, and your 2025 is already closed. The books are closed. And if that's your situation, let me congratulate you. That is such a great place to be in. This episode is going to be geared more towards those who want to see more of those 2025 dates booked, especially now as we are getting into less than a year for all of those dates. We really are just a year out for November 2025 and December 2025. Everything else is going to be less than a year. For some vendors, that's their usual booking period. For others, like venues, maybe even photographers and planners, they have a little bit more booking time typically. So that's why there's a lot of layers to this conversation and to how we approach it. So what would be the first thing that I would tell somebody to do, or that I would do for a client if their goal is to get as many bookings as possible for less than a year out? And first, it would be frequency. The more you post, the more you're going to get seen. Now, there's a lot that goes into that. So keep listening, because, we're not just going to post anything. We have to have a bit of a game plan of what it is we're going to post. Number one, you want to be posting quality content. What does that mean? You want to be posting stuff that is not pixelated. A lot of this, you think I don't have to say, but I do. You don't want to be posting something that is screenshotted and not cropped. So you see, all the extra stuff on your cell phone. You don't want to be posting a photo that you took of your computer screen. And the reason why I'm saying this is because on this podcast, we have listeners from all experience levels with social media. So I just want to make sure everything is covered. So iPhone photos are fine. I just want to make that clear, that phone photos are fine and can be considered quality content. And that is because they offer a very real perspective on the event, and couples like to see it. I like to see it. I like to know what a space is going to look like before I go in it. I like to know what a service is going to look like before I purchase it. So those realistic shots are not a bad thing. So when we're talking about posting frequently, when I want a client who really wants to, before I even know their stats, and they want to see results, I want to be posting at least 4 times a week. Once I see how the account does, if they want to scale back, we can make 3 times work, but 4 times is the minimum of what I want to see. If you're really hungry and you can post every day, then by all means you should, because it will only help you. The way I would tackle this is doing 1 week at a time or 1 month at a time. And you book time on your computer, you go through all your galleries. Maybe a week before you're doing it, you reach out to past couples for photos, you check their Instagram to see, send them a message, see what they'll send you, get those images ready. The second thing you can do is maybe pull reviews that you're going to showcase on posts. get those ready. And then maybe the third thing would be getting some templates ready. So on the Engage to Engagement workshop I did with Carissa Kruse, that's available on my website. But she has a program where every month she sends wedding professionals social media templates they can use. So you can check her out at Carissa Kruse with the Kruse, and hear more about those templates if you're not savvy enough to make and create your own. I also show you a bit in the ChatGPT for Wedding Marketing course how I use Canva for bulk templates. But templates you really can master on your own just with a free subscription to Canva, and then utilize your branding colors. But what I'm getting at is between your existing photos, your reviews, and templates, you can have enough to post every day. If you want to take this another layer, you could look into getting some stock images. You can get free stock images from Unsplash with your Canva subscription, or if you go to the resources tab at idoweddingmarketing.com, I have links to my favorite paid wedding industry stock photo sites. So this way you can get some images that haven't already been oversaturated and used. So that's kind of the game plan for being able to post a high frequency of content, is just getting it prepared and then scheduling it out at a frequency that you're going to be able to keep up with. But now we want to talk about what makes these posts, one, good, and two, help you to be able to get bookings. So in any post that you had a vendor team with, collaborators with, you want to be tagging them. If possible, you want to invite them as collaborators, because then it goes to their feed too, and that expands your reach. So right now on Instagram, my scheduling app later, I cannot invite a collaborator. I have to do that on the actual Instagram app or on desktop. And what you do is when you're tagging somebody, so let's say you were at a venue, you're going to invite that venue's Instagram username as a collaborator. If they accept, then your post goes on your feed and theirs too. So now you have doubled your reach by doing that. If they don't accept, it's not abnormal. It's not anything that's negative. I just always like to put it out there and try. Now, to be a little mindful about this, if I do a post and the message is all about, let's just say me, the venue may not want to accept that as a collaborator post. So when I am inviting the venue, let's say, or whoever is like the big ticket user you really want to collaborate with, I'll make sure that it's beneficial for them too. Send them a message, say, hey, we're doing this, etc. And then you can double that reach. So I've had photographers, videographers, content creators kind of let us know they're going to be doing this collaborator post. It's going to show our service in a really good light and ask us to accept it. So that just helps to get you out there. It shows the level of vendor you work with. It keeps you on the feed of relevant couples, right? Because if you want to be at this venue, or you like working at this venue, or you're a venue and you like working with this planner and so forth, it puts you where you want to be. So that's a really helpful thing to address and try. Also with Reels, you can add a collaborator after you post. So I'll schedule those through later, and then I'll go in and invite the collaborators after, and that just makes my life easier. You also want to be putting in the location tag. That's searchable. It helps Instagram know where you're at and what you're doing, and it helps more people to find you who are kind of in your space. So when you're at the venue, put in the venue tag. If you are the venue, I'll put in the venue location, and sometimes I'll put in the bigger city, or even the county sometimes, just to kind of expand that reach and make sure every few of my posts are being seen in different areas too. So let's move on to what we're communicating in these posts, and that's really going to be your caption is what I'm talking about. And especially if we're posting with the mindset of we're getting people to schedule consults, or getting people to talk to us, or getting people to book. You really want to be thinking about your value statements. What are the biggest value statements of your service? What sets you apart? What do you offer that others don't? What do people maybe don't realize about somebody who hires you, right? So a lot of your audience has never planned a wedding before. What don't they know that they need to know? These are things to be thinking about as you create your captions and your reels hooks and your content. It's also important to be talking about where you are, what you do, who you are. So mentioning those essentially your keywords. You want to be saying the locations you serve and the service you provide as much as possible, not in a keyword stuffing sort of way. You know, that's what that's my Thanksgiving dish this year. Keyword stuffing. Oh, like I have to make a post about that now. But you want, I want to say when I'm saying a photographer, I may say Long Island photographer or Long Island views, or I'm bringing up the location and the service as much as I naturally can because I want that to come up on people's explore page when they're searching frequently for Long Island weddings, Long Island photography. I want it to come up, for those people and for that audience and for Instagram to understand, or whatever social media platform it is, that that's what you do. TikTok right now, longer captions aren't necessarily, trending, but also for reels, I find the longer caption isn't as necessary because people are looking at the video. Not, but I don't want to confuse you too much or layer it too much. But my rule of thumb is with the reels, I keep it kind of more short and sweet, and with the gallery photos, carousels, still images on Instagram, I go a little meatier with the caption. Say what your value statement is, which is that you are a makeup artist who is familiar with all skin types and everyone in your bridal party will be comfortable. So you post it once, you go, okay, done. No, post it again and again and again. Post the same message in different ways over and over because not everybody, one, is resonating with every type of content you put out, and two, they're not seeing every piece of content you put out. I know it feels that way, but when you think about being a consumer on Instagram, you don't see everybody's post all the time. Right now, everything I'm seeing is for the Wicked movie, and that I'm seeing all the time. All right, so if you're the Wicked movie, I'm going to see everything you posted. But if you're not, I'm not seeing it, and I'm not always seeing it in real time. So don't hesitate to post the same message in different ways. As a matter of fact, don't hesitate, but just do it. Do it. Post the same message in different ways, and you can tackle that by doing them all together and having a themed week, or doing it, once each week of the month. You talk about that topic, whatever it is, but repeat what makes your business good. What makes it valuable, what makes it important, why people need to be booking you, right? Repeat those messages over and over. You also could consider you do it once with a real photo from a real wedding and a client. You do it again with a reel. You do it again with maybe a professional photo of a client. You do it in all these different ways, and that's how you're able to repeat the message in a fresh way over and over, because it's not always going to hit at the right time. Also, somebody could be in a relationship today, engaged tomorrow. So you're always going to kind of be recycling those important messages. Now we're talking for the year out, and it's okay to say you have dates open for 2025. You don't have to put full calendar open. You could put select dates, or some verbiage I've been using for my clients is inquire now to get priority selection before engagement season, or inquire now, and put that only select dates remain. So we want to get you in as soon as possible to make sure we have availability. Or we've added to our team so we have more dates available. We can service your 2025 wedding. So just letting people know that you are booking and you are available, and realizing that that's not a negative thing. I know in the past, especially with my venues, anyone who can see the video, there's this Target bag that keeps wanting to come to life. A lot of my venues, you didn't want to say you had dates. It was like, no, but like we all know the truth, which is that you're not booked out every single date until 2027. You have lots of rooms to fill, and you want to party every single day of the year in an ideal world. So that's a lot of dates. So it's okay to say that you have them available. I have had some venues have a lot of luck with promoting specialty dates. Now, that's a little different if you're not the venue, because then you're trying to fit someone into a specific spot. The venue has a little more flexibility of controlling what the date is going to be. So they will put, we have a special date on Valentine's Day weekend, or we have a special date available. Some of the venues really like to sell New Year's, so they don't have to work a New Year's party, like host New Year's at the venue, but whatever. Or if you notice you have short-term dates, you have a Saturday in the next 6 months, they'll put it up there and say, get a great, offer when you book this date before the end of November, before the end of December. And that gets traffic in, and maybe they don't even book that date and they book something better. But just talking about it to get people in, and using that you have dates available as an asset instead of something that you feel bad about. There are couples who are at totally different areas of the booking spectrum. There are some who are going to be getting engaged this engagement season and just want to get married right away. Not everybody wants to have a long engagement. It differs. So hopefully the couples you're looking for will be ready to meet you. Not to mention, I do see in a lot of the local groups I'm in for the brides that sometimes they change their mind, and if you have that date available, you could be that person. I'll give a bit of a more tangible example for one venue we did. And I do think you could do this for anybody, because here's what happens when we did this. We said we have a select amount of dates. We did this last year for 2024. We said we have a select amount of Saturdays left for 2024. We put what the 4 Saturdays were. And then what happened was people shared them, and people shared them with people who they knew were looking for a venue or were looking for a date. So if you are a makeup artist and you post that, it's very possible that people will share it with you. People will share it with the bride, with the groom, with the couple that is looking for that service, because they see it. And so it becomes something very shareable and savable, rather than something that you have to hide behind, that you have these dates. I think nowadays there is so much competition that it is normal for some of us to have these open dates, and it's okay, right? It's okay. Okay, so let's recap. We have spoken about that we're going to be posting on social media as much as we can. We're going to be talking about all the great things we do, and we're going to let people know that we are booking for 2025. What I also would like you to do, and this is great, like commercial when the commercials come on the TV, or when you're in a waiting room, is to do some intentional social media engagement. So you could do this on Facebook and Facebook groups, you could do this on TikTok, you could do this on Instagram. And it's asking yourself, where does my ideal couple, once they're engaged, who are they following on Instagram? You also want to ask, where do they go? Where do they go for their special date night or romantic night out? Or, it was when it was pumpkin picking season. What little farms were they going to? What wineries do they go to for their bachelorette? All those sorts of things. And that's where you want to hang out on Instagram. That's where you want to be engaging on Instagram. For Facebook, I'll kind of once a week go into the groups and see what's relevant and where I can comment and offer value. And on TikTok, you want your TikTok to know how to categorize you. So who are you following? Who are you interacting with? You want to be following accounts that you want TikTok to be showing your stuff to. So kind of establishing to TikTok, who you are and what you're doing. The same thing with Pinterest. You want your boards to have stuff in them that's not just yours, that showcase who you are and what you're doing. So those are some just quick organic engagement tips that you should utilize. And if you can do this 10 minutes a day, you're going to start to see some traction. So 10 minutes a day, maybe see who's going to that local romantic restaurant, see who's following the bridal accounts in your area, see who just checked in at the bridal dress salon with their dress, depending on where you fall in that booking lineup. For a venue, that may be too late, but if you're a photo booth, that's like perfect timing. So knowing where you fall and where to find them. And it's a bit of a studying game, but what you'll notice if it's going right is after you do that engagement for a couple minutes, you'll start to see 1 to 2 followers coming in afterwards pretty consistently. And you're like, all right, I'm reaching them. Then you could always send a message to anyone who follows you saying, thanks for following. My mission with this account is to let, Long Island or wherever you're based couples know that we offer great photojournalistic services for the wedding day. Whatever it is, those value points, you put it in there and then see if a conversation starts from there. And that's in a nutshell the steps I would take if I was getting my business booked for 2025 right now at the end of 2024. If you have specific questions based on what I spoke about here, let me know and I can address them on another podcast. If you liked what I said, but you need something kind of slower paced that you can do by yourself, look into the ChatGPT for Wedding Marketing course. It is a self-paced 3-video course where I walk you through how I use ChatGPT to create a marketing calendar for wedding professionals. So that could be a great value to you. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please consider leaving us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts or following us over on Instagram at I Do Wedding Marketing. You can also find me on LinkedIn at Nina Adio or I Do Wedding Marketing. And we have our website and newsletter over at idoweddingmarketing.com. We have lots of guests coming up this quarter on the podcast, so you'll want to make sure that you subscribe. And if you have anybody you'd love to see as a guest, let me know and I would love to make that happen. Thanks for listening, guys, and I will see you on the next one.